Okay.
Just seeing a couple of like the Nicole Lyle Trinilla wants to scholarship, wants to do the Great Give.
Oh, okay.
And same with Bill and Cheryl Benson Foundation. Scholarship. Do the Great Give. Oh, okay. So I'm going to need to mute this.
Yeah, because there could be feedback. Let's see what it looks like here real quick. So if anyone's joining us a little early, we're just hanging out until 11 o'clock. And then we will get started with the workshop. Okay, it is 11 o'clock. And so for those of you that have joined us, you are here at the Kitsap Great Give 2019 trainings, and this is the basic concept workshop. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you are watching when this is done, it'll be hosted on YouTube. So for those of you that come later, if you're watching this recording and you have any questions, You can email at any time, and we'll be happy to help you. And that contact information will be available at the end of the presentation. So we're going to start off talking about what the Kitsap Great Give is, and give you just some information about what a giving day is. So if you're brand new, we'll start you off step by step. So a giving day is 24 hours of online giving. So anybody from anywhere can give as much as they want to as many nonprofits as they want in a single transaction. And I'll talk a little bit more about the single transaction in a little bit. So if you have supporters that live in South Africa and they want to donate to you on April 23rd, that's okay. If you have supporters that are in South America, in Washington, D.C., and they want to donate to you online on April 23rd, also okay. If they want to give you $100,000 online, that's fine. If they want to give you $10,000 online, that's fine. If they want to give you $10 online, that's fine. Anything that there is no maximum. Anything that they give you above $10,000 in a single transaction will not be eligible for bonus pool. And we do that so no one will sweep the bonus pool. So if they give you 10 grand, then it gets bumped by the bonus pool. If they give you 11, the first 10 grand is bumped by the bonus pool, but then that $1,000 over does not. We'll talk more about the bonus pool in a minute. The minimum donation is $10, so not lower than that. And there's also early giving. So starting on April 9th, there will be some early giving, and people can go online and start donating to you then. So you did see in that slide that there are prizes. And if you go to the prizes page on the Kitsap Great Give website, you can see what those prizes are so far, and they can change up to and even during the day of the Great Give. People may want to add, sponsors may want to add prizes. Usually they're pretty much set about the week beforehand, but they do change frequently, so you might want to check back on the prize page. So how does this work? As you can see from this slide, you have sponsors. They give money for prizes, and they give money in the bonus pool. You have donors. They can give money directly to you through donor dollars, or they can donate to the bonus pool if they want to as well. All of that money comes into the Kitsap Great Give, and then we give a check to you. And while the Great Give itself, the event, is 24 hours of online giving, as I said, there is early giving. This graphic that you see here in front of you is also available for you to download, and you can use it to present to your board members, to your donors, to your staff, to help explain what the Great Give is as well. This is another graphic that is available for you. If I don't already have it on your resources page, then you can email me and I'm happy to send it to you. This is how it works for donors. They go, as soon as you get your profile completed, it's available to the public. So some people's profiles are already up on the Great Give website right now. Your donors can explore the different categories, and they can see what they want, where you are, or just where all the nonprofits are that support a cause that they are passionate about. They mark their calendars for when early donations start, tell everybody they know, and then they donate. And that's it. It's pretty simple for them. So I'm noticing there's a little, I'm waiting just a second to give the slide time to change, because I'm noticing for some screens there's a bit of a delay. So how do you participate? If you haven't already registered and you're interested in registering, you should know first and foremost that you need to do it before February 28th. After February 28th, it's too late. We have deadlines that we have to meet as far as advertising and getting out the names of all the nonprofits in a county-wide mailer and all of that. So we need that information by February 28th. So be sure you get it done by the deadline. You have to be a 501c3. If you're a C4, it won't work. If you're any other kind of category, it won't work. You have to be a 501c3. You have to be current on your tax filings, And you have to be current on your Washington Secretary of State charitable solicitations registration. This is not the annual report. That's something different. And you need to be serving residents of Kitsap, or your main office needs to be based in Kitsap. So if you have a main office but you do worldwide work, that's okay. Or if you only serve residents of Kitsap, or maybe if you're based, say, in Pierce County, but you serve a great deal of residents in Kitsap, that's also something we can consider. You don't have to do these trainings. You'll notice in the new platform that we have that there are cards, little cards and tabs and things for what is required of you. We do highly recommend, though, that you go through the tutorials. So today's training, is going to be pretty broad. It's for you if you're brand new, if you forgot how it works, if you just want a refresher course, if you're a board member, if you are a participating nonprofit, or maybe if you're just a supporter who wants to find out how you can help a nonprofit that you're passionate about. It's not a comprehensive list of everything you'll encounter, of everything to do. There is a lot of information, but it is not a reason to panic. And it's certainly not the only way to do things. It's just a basic training of how you might want to prepare and what you can expect and do. And it's really important to realize that the Great Give is not a solution to all fundraising. So I try to, manage expectations. If you're coming into this thinking, oh my gosh, we have to raise $100,000 or our nonprofit will fail in 2 months. This isn't probably going to be what you're looking for. You may want to talk to the community foundation about other solutions, but I wouldn't hang your hat on that. So it's just a tool in your toolkit for fundraising. We're going to talk about how you can get started, your basic goal setting, how you might assign roles on your team. And we're going to talk about engaging your staff, engaging your donors, what some basic timelines are, and I'll show you where you can get those timelines and tools for yourself. Here's the sponsors that we have so far this year. You'll notice many of them are returning, and we're grateful for that. There are others that we think are probably going to be returning, but we haven't been able to seal the deal yet. We don't want to put it out there if we don't have everything exactly, all our ducks in a row and all the paperwork signed. But you notice we have very generous sponsors. Here's some tools that we provide for you. All of these tools are available on the Kitsap Community Foundation website. And that, I'm going to grab that real quick for you and bring it on over to my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. And so if you were to go to kitsapfoundation.org, let me wait for my screen to catch up here so you can see it. Go to kitsapfoundation.org, and in the upper menu, do Kitsap Great Give and go to nonprofits in the drop-down menu. Then you're going to come across this page. This has pretty much everything that you will need to get you going for the Kitsap Great Give. Important dates, so it's going to show you when early giving starts, when the mailer is going to go out, when to get ready for everything. Obviously, anything you need to register for today's trainings, what happened last year, where to register, all the sponsors. It's going to show you all the videos you need, tutorials, new site orientation, how to create a Facebook profile for nonprofits. And this is important. Every year I try to tag nonprofits for Facebook, but many of you have groups for your nonprofits, not a page, and you cannot tag a group. So you won't get a tag if you don't have a page. Here's some puppies and kittens and things, and these are placeholders for today's trainings. So if you forget something and you don't want to go to YouTube or aren't comfortable, they'll all be hosted here. E-blasts that I send out are all here archived so that you can click on one of these links and be able to see any of the archived e-blasts. And then down here at the bottom, you see we have prepare and promote to your 4 stages. Educate being the first one, explore, educate, prepare, and promote. So to prepare, we've got workbooks, guidebooks, staff allocation planning templates, sample budgets, communication calendar templates, model release for a minor child if you want to take pictures of a child and put it up on your website. Checklists for everything you need to do starting at 8 weeks out. We've got infographics for your tips for managing Facebook, tips for marketing, tweeting, and the logo that you can start downloading. I'll have more promotional information later on in March. So this is your place where you go to get everything that you need. And this is different from the Kitsap Great Give, different website. And we'll go back to that in a little bit. So as you can see on the slide in front of you, these are some of the tools that we offer. Please go and download those things. Download your workbook and your guidebook and let yourself be walked through how to do it. The workbook and the guidebook will look like this, your next slide coming up. And go ahead and see how those can help you. You can use them for your board members if you want to work with your board members, work with volunteers, work with donors. If you have a larger organization and you want to write everything down and plan in the workbook, but you really prefer to collaborate online, if you look in a little blue box, sometimes this is how we feel here, that this woman in this picture when we're trying to organize everything by paper. If you feel like that, you can use any of these over here, Asana, Wrike, Nutcache, Jira, Trello. All of these are project management tools that you may find very useful. Getting organized. Don't wait until the day before you're supposed to start marketing, March 23rd, and then say, oh, now you know what? Let's plan. This thing's coming up in a month. Get started right now. Download the tools, assign the tasks, create your timeline, prioritize your tasks. Do it right now. And it's important to note that March 23rd, the reason I have that date in there is that's when we start marketing, when we start doing hard sells. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in the marketing workshop, but we try not to start doing it too early because we don't want donor fatigue, and I'll talk a lot more about donor fatigue in the next workshop. But now for your great ideas, you want to set your goals. And how does that want to work? Well, you want to be smart about your goals. SMART. So that means to be specific, to be measurable, to be attainable, and to be relevant, and to be timely. So we'll just talk a little bit about those. When I say specific, what I mean is don't say, hey, let's raise some money to build a swing set in a park. I mean, say we need to raise $25,000 in order to put in a foundation and this brand of swing set installed by this date. This will help you in two ways. One, it gets you clear on how much you really need for your goal. And two, it helps you clearly communicate that goal to your donors. And people are more apt to give you money if they think you know what you're doing. And you want to be measurable about your goals. Don't say, oh, we want to get some more Facebook users. That'd be great. Say, we want to use the Kitsap Great Give as a tool to increase our Facebook page traffic by 35%. And you can measure that in your Facebook Insights. Or we want to get 100 new likes on our Facebook page. Or we want to have 100 new visitors a month to our website. So be able to measure how successful you are in your goals, or you'll never know if you did any good. Make your goals attainable. If you're an all-volunteer organization that's existed for 1 year and you want to create $1 million endowment with the Kitsap Great Give, that's probably not very attainable. So you need to be sure that you're being realistic, or you're going to burn out yourself and your team. And make the goals relevant. So if you want to get 100 new Twitter followers, but you don't really use Twitter that much, that's not necessarily a relevant goal. And it sounds maybe silly to say that, but you'd be surprised that when you get a group of people together, how they can have all kinds of goals, but they are not really necessarily what's relevant to the team as a whole. And make sure that your goals are timely. Don't set, yourself 3 weeks to do something that really would probably take 3 months. So be sure you know what you want to do for the giving day. Ask yourself, what did you do in the past? Did that work well for you? What do you really need? And make sure that you have enough staff and technical resources to be able to accomplish those goals. And that's really important when you talk about hitting your targets with goal setting. Make sure that your staff is not going to get overwhelmed. Some sample goals that you could think about would be increasing donors from previous years, or increasing donations. Maybe you don't care so much about getting 100 new donors, but you want the ones you have to give you more money. Maintain your donors, increase your board engagement. Prizes, that's always a fun thing to have a goal to win some different prizes. Another thing is obtaining your own match. So what that means is, while we have a bonus pool that will boost the dollars you're donated, you can also find your donors that will give you a specific match or a little mini bonus pool just for your organization. So say you have one donor that's been very generous with your organization in the past, and they say, hey, everybody that donates to Shane and Ani's awesome nonprofit, our favorite donor will match what they give us up to $10,000. So we have our own $10,000 match in addition to the bonus pool. You can do that too. Set your goals now. Don't decide a month beforehand, maybe we should do this. And use that goal to design all your messaging. Use that goal to design your profile page and any posters and any e-newsletters. And if you're just kind of hanging out there going, oh my God, I don't know what to say in an e-newsletter, that's okay. We have sample text for you in your workbook. We have sample email newsletters, sample tweets, sample Facebook posts, you name it. So we can get you started there. Finances. A lot of people are concerned with the Kitsap Great Give. How do they meld that into their other fundraising campaigns? And the foundation is a perfect example of a challenge with that, because our annual major fundraiser is about 10 days. Well, it used to be 10 days. It drove us crazy. So I think now it's 15 days or something, right after the Kitsap Great Give. So we have these two fundraisers really close together. And the way that we work with those is we use pre-existing events, for instance, like our KC&E events, to market the Kitsap Great Give, to educate about the Kitsap Great Give. And we coordinate the Kitsap Great Give and the successful results we have there to inspire people at our annual fundraiser. You can provide vouchers. Say you invite people to a fundraiser, they can't give that night, and say that's okay. If you can't give tonight, then here's a voucher for you that you can pledge to give a certain amount at the Kitsap Great Give. You can raise money for your own private bonus pool during the Great Give at other fundraising events. You can also use the Kitsap Great Give as an advertising opportunity. So during the Great Give, you can say, hey, we're also having our big golf fundraiser in 2 months. Sign up now. Or we are having a big auction in this fall. You can contact us now and give in-kind donations. So there's a lot of different ways that you can blend together the Kitsap Great Give with your other fundraising campaign. One of the issues that people have when goal setting with finances can be, how do we explain overhead? You know, people always want to donate to a nonprofit that everything goes straight to the bottom line, but they don't realize that to make things go straight to the bottom line, quite often in many organizations, you need to have CPAs and qualified web designers and other qualified finance people to make sure that things go well. So be straightforward about the overhead. Don't be afraid. Explain that provides quality control. It helps you to prove that you're effective. If you just have people running out there trying to save the world without making sure you're successful, then their donor dollars may not be as well utilized. So if you have overhead, if you're an organization that uses that, don't be afraid of talking about why and how the donor can feel good about what their overhead cost is going to. Again, with goal setting, you want to be exact. What is the specific reason you're raising money for your project? And it's not just for your own focus, but your donor will want to know exactly what they're giving money to. Many of them will. And here's some questions you can think about, from how much does the one item cost to what is your installation budget, things like that. And I've mentioned a couple of times about telling the donor what they are giving their money for and how to communicate. One of the most important things about this will be your communication, and the key to successful communication is get organized. But right now, get organized. Don't wait until March 23rd, the day that you're going to start advertising. And when I say get organized, I did mention that yes, there are some digital tools that you can use that will help you. However, you do need to make sure that you have the bandwidth to learn those tools. So review what communication tools you're already using, both internally and externally. And if you want to incorporate anything, so say your goal, you know what, you really want to start being a Twitter genius. And so you're going to kick that off with the Great Give. That's fine. On the other hand, don't learn a new tool if you don't need to. Use what you have, and the key here is efficiency. And make sure that you know what kind of tools you're going to need to get the word out to your donors. You want to make sure that you know who you want to contact and how many. And in order to know that, you really need to know your donor database. And there's going to be some of your donors that are going to be older. They're going to be not online. They can donate through the mailer that we send out to about 80,000 people in Kitsap. We will also have an opportunity for them to donate through the Kitsap Sun. We'll put a big printout in the paper. They can cut out a form and fill out whatever nonprofits they like and donate that way, and in all the local newspapers through Sound Publishing. So there's something for everyone. And if you know that the bulk of your donor base is not going to donate online, then market the mailers and the papers more heavily to them. Take advantage of everything that's there. So in addition to your donors, because of course, you want to contact them, you also want to know about who is your other target audience, because most people aren't going to be in the Kitsap Great Give just to contact the same old donors that are always on their mailing list. You're wanting to reach out to the community and get the information to more people. So do you want to communicate maybe with your partners? And by partners, I mean, are there other nonprofits that work with you that you might want to bring them into the fold and communicate with them? Maybe you want to tell them more about what you do. Maybe you want to partner with them to reduce the costs of ad campaigns. Is your audience on social media? Is your audience just plain everybody else in the entire county? How do you plan to reach them? So when I say be organized, once you identify this, you need to identify this target audience first before you start crafting your messages, because the messages that you put out on social media are going to be really different than a message you put out on your email campaign. And it's going to be different than a personal ask. And don't be afraid of the personal ask. We also have a sample script for you in the workbook that you could use to make a personal ask if it makes you nervous to ask people for money. But the bottom line is you won't get what you don't ask for. Communications, again, planning a calendar. You want lists, you want dates, and use your planner for this. Use the planner that you download to get this information. There's a space where you can fill out everything that I'm talking about right here. You have a responsible party. You'll notice the third bullet on the first point. Be specific. Who's actually going to call donors? So if you have your team together, say you have your board together, and everybody is going to call 3 people and do a personal ask. Everybody needs to know who's responsible for making sure that those calls get made. So be sure you assign it to somebody. Don't just say it looks like a good idea. Make sure that there is a person that knows it is their job to do it. Again, check the web for your templates. Begin planning now. And you can schedule your posts in social media. So if you think, oh my gosh, I do the Facebook, but I don't have time to go on and post every day, that's okay. You can schedule that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the social media training. You can pre-write blog posts now and be sure to create accountability for whoever is working with you. So a little bit more about assigning key roles. Gonna wait just a second. There's my slide. So you need to be careful and be realistic about your time constraints. So if there's that one person that always tends to overcommit and they raise their hand and say, I'll update the website every day, and you're like, yay, who else is going to help them? Be sure you ask that question about who else is going to help them. It's always good to stay within assigned staff roles. So if you're telling for instance, your accounting staff that they suddenly have to start updating social media, that's probably not going to go well. Don't be afraid to ask your volunteers to help out. And something that people often don't remember, but it is very important, get a backup person. Because if somebody says they're going to be your social media guy and then, breaks their leg skiing, you don't want somebody on Vicodin doing the social media. Not good. If you're asking people to do things, make sure they have the proper tools. So don't ask somebody to create a great video and then not give them what they need to create that with. Check your schedule frequently and be ready to adapt. Nothing ever goes the way you want it to. There's always little hiccups. So be sure that you build some flexibility into your plan. And you want to engage people. You're not, even if you are a single volunteer running your organization and you just have a tiny little nonprofit, you will need help with this project. Get your board engaged, get your staff engaged, get your volunteers engaged, and don't be afraid to ask your donors. Maybe to put out a call to donors to volunteer with getting the word out for the Kitsap Great Give is the best way those donors can donate to you their time to you. You want to get your board and staff in right away on the planning. So show them this video, have them look at it on YouTube, give them the workbook, provide them with the infographics that you can print out to show them how things work. You could have an in-house Giving Day kickoff. So on March 23rd, the day that all the advertising starts, everybody gets cupcakes and they get super excited about it and they're ready to go out there and spread the word. Because people will tend to talk more about what they're excited about and what's being built up to them. So don't be afraid to do that. Definitely share the helpful resources that you have. Give them the graphics you have. Show them how to download them. Give them proper preparation to become a social media ambassador. There's a lot of board members that might really like to spread the word, but they're not necessarily sure how to get started. And so when you sit down with your board, again, the key to success will be organization. You want to explain to them not only what it is and get them excited about it early on, but you also want to be really clear with them. What is your goal? Do you want 100% more than what you got last year? Do you want to get more public engagement? Whatever your goal is, make sure the board knows that. There's a lot of people that I meet just throughout the community that are talking and say, oh yeah, our organization's doing the Kitsap Great Give. I don't know what we're doing it for though. So make sure the board really knows, and you may be surprised at how many times you have to remind busy people of what it is that they're doing through the Kitsap Great Give. Decide together what prize challenges that you might want to go for and whether or not they should be on social media. Do you want them to share? Do you want them to comment? Tell them how to do it. Show them how to share with all their friends or make a public share so that it can get around to more people. And make sure that you know what tasks or strategies that your board can participate in. And some of them may come up with some pretty creative and incredible ideas of their own. Go with it. Make sure to pass out all your social media guides, calling scripts, everything to the board so that they have everything that you have. And I can't really emphasize enough how important education is to clearly tell them what is happening and create realistic expectations for them. So if you have board members that are already overwhelmed with the amount of calls and work that they have to do, and then you say, by the way, everybody needs to call 25 people on week 1, that's probably not going to get you a great response. So be sure that you see things from their perspective, and be sure that you're able to give them realistic goals and tell them exactly how they can help. So for instance, you don't want to say, oh, you can be a social ambassador. And they'll be like, what's a social ambassador? You need to tell them exactly what to do and be very, very specific. You could ask them to commit to a certain amount of personal asks. Maybe the board wants to create a match for your donors. But you need to tell them exactly what to do. What is the prize challenge? What do they need to do? What's step 1, 2, and 3? Provide them a list of who to call. If they don't have personal contacts they'd like to call, say, you're going to call each of these donors and you're going to call them on the morning of the Great Give between 10 and noon. And if you don't get to them, you're going to keep trying. And you need to create some accountability for your board. You know, you guys are all a team. Everybody's working together. Make them feel part of that team and not like they're the ones carrying everything on their shoulders, but because sometimes it can feel that way for both board and staff, that you're part of a team and there's more to it than just voting on things. Get commitments in the minutes from people. Have them write down what they will commit to do and follow up on it. Let this be a way perhaps that they can fulfill giving requirements. That's one. Some people feel like, well, I really want to support my organization, but I'm tapped out. That's okay. Go ahead and see if there's other ways that you can engage them. And some things that they can do during the giving day will be very important. For instance, you could encourage them to share socially. If all they can do is do it on that day, that's fine. Send them emails, like pre-schedule emails to go out to them with specific calls to action. For instance, if you're going for a specific prize, maybe a golden ticket prize, between the hours of, say, noon and 1, then you want to send out that email at 11:30 and say, it's coming up. Get ready to make your calls and remind them. I did not think this. So I have in here peer-to-peer fundraising. Recruiting your board members to make their own peer-to-peer fundraising pages. This is my bad for not taking this part out. We do not have those same peer-to-peer fundraising pages, but I will show you how they can go ahead and promote that more and do more individual fundraising when I get to the marketing workshop. Your board members are ideal people to encourage to go to local businesses and ask them to maybe post flyers, maybe create matching funds specific to your organization. So there's also the sponsored match that the board members can be responsible for creating and maintaining. I had mentioned earlier that you could do that with donors. If you have trouble with donors, you could have the board do a sponsored match. Donor stewardship is of the utmost importance. You don't want people to just feel like you begged them for money and then you took it and ran. The board members are ideal to call the donors individually and say, thank you. We are going to use your donation to do X. We really appreciate it. They could do handwritten notes to some of the larger donors that donate larger amounts of money. And generally people are asked to be on a board because the organization feels like that person is well connected and they could help get the word out. Leverage that connection that your board members have and the reason that you brought them on. And then that brings me to staff engagement. And staff is just as important, if not more important than the board, because they're the people with their feet on the ground that know the clients you're serving. Use the tools we provide. Again, print out the workbooks, print out the guidebooks, educate the staff. Don't just tell them, hey, we're doing this Kitsap Great Give thing. It's going to be awesome. and leave them going, huh? What does that mean? What am I doing? Often staff can feel totally overwhelmed just on a daily basis working in the nonprofit sector because we are typically paid less than our counterparts in the private sector, and we typically have more work and less help. So be careful not to overwhelm them. Outline how they can help. Give them every tool that you can. Clearly state their responsibilities, and do acknowledge that it's more work. That it's more work. Don't try to pull the wool over their eyes. They'll get it. But you can also make it fun. Be sure you're grateful to them. Have a launch day, like I mentioned with the board on the very first marketing day. Encourage them to create related events within legal bounds, of course, yes. But there's a great tool for hosting events, on the new platform that we have, where you can make events and track them and promote them. One important thing about making sure staff doesn't feel overwhelmed is to clearly outline their responsibility. So for instance, you don't want to just say, hey, you over there, you guys really need to manage social media for this great gift. Okay, thanks, that's great, and then walk off. And I know some of you are looking at this and laughing, going, PR staff, ha! But just to assume that you're this really well-organized large nonprofit that has several different departments and you have PR staff. And if that were the case, for an example, you would say they will be responsible for the following: sending emails to the media outreach list, sending update emails late in the giving day, coordinating media appearances, etc., and responding to inquiries. So I'm seeing a couple questions. Okay, Shane, we got that. Yes. So, if you have admin staff, and what are they responsible for doing? Are they supposed to be printing off posters? Which posters? How many? Where? Who do they call? All of those things. Be sure you're just really very specific. Now, the brass ring, the donor, engaging the donor. Something that's really cool, that's a total game changer this year, you can update your profile during the giving event. So those of you that have participated before know that in prior years, the platform we used, there would be a lockdown. And we would say, okay, you have to make all your changes and get everything up. It was something like 2 weeks before and no more changes after that. And then there was always a couple emergency things where Shane and I would kind of sneak in the back and make a few changes. And they did that for security reasons. They didn't want the site to crash. They didn't want to try and handle multiple updates a day of. But that problem exists no more. You may now update your profile during the event. So you can upload a series of hero images, like we're almost there. We have 5,000 more to go. Thank you to John Smith, who just donated 2,500 bucks. You can put those up in your hero image the entire time if you want to. You can change out videos and update your stories even during the event. So this could be a really powerful marketing tool for you. And you can reach out to your donors not typically online. Again, let them know we're offering other ways for them to give via mail. Right now, it's going to be important to get your donor lists cleaned up. Don't wait until March 23rd and go, oh, how many of these emails have actually been bouncing for the last 3 months? Get them cleaned up now. Make sure the kinks are worked out of your mass email to the best of your abilities. There are some programs that are more frustrating than others. And I did have a question actually about mass emailing programs, and then I'll address that in more detail in the marketing workshop. So once you get all your databases organized and your email and snail mail systems organized, you're going to want to create a game plan. So you're going to want to think about how will you engage your current donor base. Usually one way isn't enough. So are you going to do emails? Who's going to plan? Who's going to do your thank yous after the 23rd? How are you going to engage people? So think about that very carefully and plan. We have a new tool, as you can see, and in a moment you'll see what it is. Thanks to my little delay here. There we go. So consider having a party or event on the day of the Kitsap Great Give. There's a new tool. So some other ways to engage your donors is prizes. You can determine which prizes you're going to go for. I would recommend to think of one or two and plan carefully for those. For instance, we have golden ticket prizes, and I think it's from 9 to 9, and that means that every hour we will randomly select a nonprofit, and that nonprofit will win a $250. It's just we use a random number generator. The more times, the more donations you get during that hour, the better chance of your name getting selected, because every single time you get a donation during that hour, your name's entered in. So if one nonprofit gets one donation from say between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. and another nonprofit gets 20 donations between 10 and 11 a.m., the one that gets 20 donations is going to have a better chance of getting their name picked. So there's the early bird prize. So you could just try and have the bulk of your donations come in first thing in the morning. And that prize is sponsored by our own board members personally, not the foundation, but just our personal board members. So there's a lot of different ways that you can engage the donor, and like having a party or an event on the day of the Kitsap Great Give. There's also prizes that you can offer your donor. So when you talk about our prizes, you can say, oh, let's get everybody super excited because you're going to help us win a prize. Let's work together as a team. So you can use the incentive to help them work as a team. You can also use the incentive of, if you donate $50, now you get this free mug, just like you hear public radio do. And that's okay. You can do that. That's legal. So long as you follow the IRS regulations. And just a general rule of thumb, t-shirts are great, condos are not. So just make sure that the gift you're giving, it's not overdone a bit. And I will send out an e-blast that has the specific IRS regulation about that you can link to and read up on. So look for that e-blast coming out in the next few weeks. Here you can just see in front of you a few examples of what kind of gifts might be something that you want to consider doing. And another part of donor engagement, a lot of people tend to focus on what you do the day of, but don't forget what happens after it's over. You do not need to send a tax receipt to your donors. We will do it. They will get their tax receipt from the foundation. You do not need to send that. But you also want to honor them. If they say it's okay, if they're not anonymous and they don't mind you putting their name out, you can put thank yous to them on your profile page, on your social media page. Definitely send a thank you email within 24 hours. We do not thank your donors for you. We do not have contact with your donors other than sending them a tax receipt. This is about you forming bonds with your supporters, not the foundation inserting itself into your donor relationship. So you need to send your thank you emails in 24 hours. And if somebody donates $500 or more, that's a special donor. You can send them a handwritten note, invite them to have a tour of your facilities. Make sure that they know how thankful that you are, that they're giving to you. Be sure to list people in your annual report, in your newsletter, and most importantly, tell them what you did. Give them a report later on that says, hey, here's a picture of the swing set you helped us build. Now these prizes, how do we plan for prizes? Well, you do need to read the rules. That is on the bottom of the prize planning page. So definitely read the rules. You will have to check your donor data, and you can do that now in real time. You don't have to go back and wait to download a spreadsheet. Now you can go on through the new platform and see see who's donating, and decide beforehand how you're going to announce your prize winning and things like that. Planning for our prizes, gamifying it, making it into a game. Some suggestions for what you could do. For the early bird prize, you could host a breakfast. It is the cheapest meal of the day to host. Or a morning coffee and donut soiree, and then everyone present at the breakfast donates all at once. and that helps get the early bird prize. You could have people sign up for a wake-up call for board members, so donors can say, okay, I'm a person that you're allowed to call at 6 a.m. And if anybody's brave enough to do that, your board members can give them that wake-up call and help them start the day out donating. You can duplicate any of our prizes. You could create a night owl prize. You could offer the final dollar prize, where at the end of the night, whoever's up and the person that makes the final donation wins a special prize before the clock ticks midnight. So those are just a few suggestions for things that you can do. Planning for your own matching pool is something I've mentioned a couple of times with board members and also with donors. So you can reach out to local businesses. Your board and staff members can use their connections to make asks. You need to find a way to facilitate it. You can either receive the funds directly and then just type in your profile how much you have in your matching pool funds. Or if you don't have the bandwidth to do that and you'd like some help, the foundation can help facilitate you collecting that match, and then we pass it on to you. So if you want to do a match, you have some board members or donors that want to do that, but you're really not sure how to facilitate it, give us a call and we can help you set that up. You can put your sponsor logos if you have a prize from a sponsor and you really want to thank them. You can put their logos on your profile page. You can send it to me. I'm happy to share you guys' stuff. You share ours, I'll share yours. It'll be great. We'll tell everybody. And in the marketing workshop, I'll talk more about how the sharing and tagging works. Let's see. I'm just looking for, she's got that. Okay, so putting it all together. Now that you've met with your board, you've met with your staff, you've got a plan for what everybody on the team is going to do. You know what tools that you have, what you're going to use. You've got it all worked out in your workbook. What about the day of? A lot of people spend time preparing, and then on the day of, they're so exhausted, they're like, thank God it's here, but it's not quite over yet. So make sure that you have a plan for the day of. Make sure everybody knows what prizes you're going for. Have people secured to be responsible for checking those prizes. And it's always good to have 2 or 3 people, maybe this is another role board members can fill it, to make your first 2 or 3 donations. Because if people see money on the board, on the leaderboard, they're going to be psychologically more inclined to give to you if you already have money. It doesn't make sense, but that's what people tend to do. So if you have board members that say each of them is going to donate $50 first thing in the morning, that's a good part of a plan to have in place. Make sure that everybody who's supposed to be sending out e-blasts, Facebook posts, phone calls, etc., check in with them. Who's going to call? Make sure everybody knows who's going to call them, who's going to remind them, who's going to double check that they're actually doing it. You don't want to get to 3 o'clock in the afternoon and discover that your Facebook guy forgot he was supposed to be putting stuff on Facebook. It may help you to have a small timeline prepared for the day. It can just be one piece of paper with whatever you're going to do for the hours that you're going to be active, either online or at an event. It doesn't have to be complicated, but just a simple list will help you organize. And definitely make sure everybody who knows their role, everybody who's been assigned a role knows what that is. Is anyone canvassing? Are they out there? Call them and make sure they got out there. And who's in charge of coordinating. And then, of course, things can always go wrong. People get the flu. The internet goes down. There are random flash flooding. Who knows what may happen the day of. So have a backup plan. So for instance, what do you do if no donations come in? You're sitting there, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, nothing's happened. Yikes, now what? So what's your backup plan? Is somebody going to activate the board members to start doing personal asks? If so, who? Don't just say, oh, well, the board members will pick it up. make sure the board members know they're going to and who's going to check in with them. And have backup people. If somebody gets sick, who's going to take their place? Also, you want to think about the day after. So it's great to make a plan to thank donors, but who's actually writing the thank you cards? Are you doing it? Is the board doing it? Are you doing emails? If you offer prizes, did somebody order the prizes? Are they in? Who's mailing them? Did you get the mailing address for the people that are receiving the prizes? So make sure all of that stuff is in order before the day after, because likely you'll probably have a headache and want to sleep in if you stay up and do the whole thing for the whole 24 hours. Be sure that somebody's in charge of thanking the sponsors too. If you have specific businesses or other sponsors that are promoting your nonprofit specifically, make sure that they are thanked, and make sure there is an assigned person to write those thank you notes. Also, if you're wanting to increase web views, increase social media views and likes, don't just say that that's your goal. Actually figure out the metrics of how to measure that now. So get a baseline now of, and introduce yourself to Facebook Insights if you haven't done that yet and don't really know how that works. Figure out how to download your reports and know who's viewing what and when, so that you have an idea of what exactly what is your baseline and what is going to be your return on investment. If you don't know where you are, you're not going to know whether or not you were successful. So that's planning that you need to do now for your follow-up the day after. In order to help spread the word on social media, we do have the same tools that we've had last year, and always. So you can go to YouTube. All our trainings are up there, promotions, the promotional videos. If you want to share the promotional video that we made for the Kitsap Great Give, you can go ahead and share that YouTube video. It's free for you to use. Hashtags, the Twitter handles that you can follow. And then, of course, you can like us, follow us on social media, on Facebook. So some other helpful learning opportunities that will be coming up are through our Kitsap Center for Nonprofit Excellence, KC&E. So KC&E is an educational branch of the Kitsap Community Foundation. We work together with Olympic College Foundation and United Way, and we provide quality workshops that are tailored just for Kitsap nonprofits at a reasonable price. You can become an organizational member, an individual member, or you can just pay as you go. And it helps you by giving workshops on pretty much anything you could imagine for what it takes to run a nonprofit, from finances to marketing to board engagement. And this year, Friday, March 29th, if you're used to coming to KC&E's on Thursday, the days this year will be a little bit different, and the location will now be at Harrison in Silverdale. So it will not be in Paulsbo, and it will not be at Olympic College this year. And the full day workshop is going to be on planned giving and the Leave 10 for Kitsap campaign. So check out the KC&E website and find out more information about that. And I'll have more information forthcoming on that website, including some Leave 10 toolkits and things. And we also provide that the March workshop is our half-day workshop, or our full-day workshop, sorry. And then every other quarter we have a half-day workshop. So your full-day workshop is coming up. So what are the next steps that you need to follow as we go forward for the Kitsap Great Give? Well, the very first thing you need to do is register. None of this will matter if you do not register. So go to kitsapgreatgive.org and register to participate. You need to understand there'll be 2 steps to registration. You're going to fill in your basic information and you'll get an email that says thank you for registering. You've been approved. If you fill out your basic information and do not get the email that says you are approved, then you need to go back in. Something is missing. Some information is missing. You have to get the email that says you're approved, and that can take up to 2 weeks. So once you register, be sure to update your profile, use your materials, engage your board and staff, start your basic outline and get set up to start marketing on March 23rd. If you have any questions and you need to know who to get in touch with, you can just call our main number and we'll be happy to help you and put you in the right direction. You can always email me if you have any questions about marketing or images or where to get going with the planning or anything like that. Your general questions about registration and everything, you can just email greatgive@kitsapfoundation.org. And I'll hang out for a few more minutes to see if there's any other questions. And if not, then I will see you or talk to you in about an hour at the marketing workshop. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions coming up. So at this point, I will say goodbye and hopefully I will see some of you again at the marketing workshop at 1 o'clock.